When we talk about environmentalism, it's easy to think about huge global policies or really complex regulations. But what if the biggest shift is actually happening on a much more personal level? Today, we're going to dive into how Gen Z is totally rewriting the rules of sustainability. They're moving past just asking for change and are actively creating it, right in their own daily lives.
So let's just start with this quote from a panel of young environmental leaders because it gets right to the heart of it. This one sentence just perfectly captures the spirit of this whole new movement. It's proactive, it's hands-on, and you know what? It's happening right now.
So in this explainer, we're going to break it all down into 4 key areas. We'll start with the personal moments that spark their passion. Then we'll get practical and look at how they're transforming fashion and daily life at home. And finally, we're going to connect all those dots and show you how these individual actions add up to a massive collective impact.
So, where does a lifelong commitment to sustainability even begin? Well, for the young women on this panel, it wasn't some big abstract idea. Nope, it was a single, personal moment, a spark that really changed everything.
For Biani Washington, that spark happened in a college class on food and justice. And this wasn't just any course, it was a total awakening. It led her to organize things like campus clothing swaps and develop this philosophy that beautifully links taking care of the planet with taking care of yourself.
Now, for Michael Carter, the spark came even earlier. Middle school, can you believe it? When she joined the Future Farmers of America. That early start grew into this incredible passion for mixing science and art. Now she gives new life to discarded things, creating jewelry from thrifted pieces and mending clothes with a creative flair. And for Isabella Auberon, the catalyst was seeing another young woman take a stand. A speech by Greta Thunberg just lit a fire in her, and it made her realize the power of her own voice. So she took all that energy and channeled it directly into her high school's green team, inspiring others to get involved locally. Okay, so we've seen these personal sparks. How do they translate into actual practical action? Well, let's start with one of the biggest sources of waste in our modern lives, our closets. This generation is fundamentally rethinking its relationship with clothing. First things first, we have to define the problem: fast fashion. You know what I'm talking about. The cheap, trendy clothing that is literally everywhere. It's convenient, for sure, but it is designed to be disposable. You wear it a few times, it falls apart, and then it ends up in a landfill. It's this endless cycle of temporary trends and permanent trash. The real difference here isn't just about the clothes. It's a total shift in mindset. Fast fashion treats clothes like they're disposable, but sustainable fashion, that sees them as an investment. The goal isn't to wear something just a few times, but to find quality pieces that are actually built to last, which dramatically shrinks your environmental footprint. So how do you make the switch? Michael Carter gives this brilliant guide to thrifting with intention. It's not about just hoarding a bunch of cheap clothes. It's about being mindful. Shop for what you actually need, learn some basic repair skills, see the potential in used stuff, and then contribute back to the system by donating what you don't wear anymore. And this is so cool because it shows that sustainability isn't just about shopping differently. It's about building community and being creative. Think about hosting a pop-up closet party or a clothing swap with your friends. Or maybe try creating a capsule closet, a small collection of high-quality, versatile things that you can mix and match. It's all about having more style with less stuff. Okay, so from our wardrobes, let's bring it even closer to home. Because the exact same ideas of mindful consumption and creative reuse can totally transform our daily routines. These might seem like tiny, tiny changes, but their cumulative impact is huge. Simple things, right? Like using cloth bags, fixing something that's broken instead of just tossing it, or even using an old-school trick like socks to curl your hair instead of a hot iron. Every single one is a small vote for a more sustainable lifestyle. And I just think this is such a beautiful way to reframe the whole concept. Biani Washington doesn't see these habits as chores. For her, taking care of her garden is a self-love routine, a meditative practice. It connects her to the earth and to herself. See, it's not about saving the planet out of obligation, it's about making your own life richer. Okay, this brings us to the final and maybe the most important piece of the puzzle. It's so easy to feel like our small actions are just a drop in the ocean. So how do they actually add up to create real systemic change? This is the question, right? This is the one that can lead to feeling paralyzed and cynical. If these massive corporations are the main problem, does it really matter if I recycle my water bottle? It's a totally valid question, and the panel had a really powerful answer. So the key takeaway is this: individual choices create cultural pressure.
It's not about one person against one giant corporation. It's about millions of individual choices creating a new normal, a whole new set of expectations that businesses just cannot afford to ignore. Here's how that ripple effect works. It starts with you choosing a reusable bag or a thrifted shirt. When enough people do it, it creates a cultural trend. Suddenly, there's a huge new demand for sustainable products. And what do businesses do? They adapt. They have to, in order to appeal to you, the consumer. Your choice becomes their command.
I love this analogy from Michael Carter. Thinking about sustainability like a savings account just makes it so much more real, doesn't it? You don't deposit your whole paycheck at once. You put in a little bit, consistently, over time. Each one of those small deposits, every bottle recycled, every item repaired, it all adds up to achieve a massive goal.
And with all this growing cultural momentum, these young leaders have a really clear message for people in power. This is not a niche issue. Everyone wants a high quality of life. Environmental health isn't some luxury, it's a fundamental need. And most importantly, they're not just protesting. They are ready and willing to be part of the solution.
We're going to end with a simple but super powerful piece of homework from the panel. It's called the 30-day rule. The next time you feel that urge to buy something you don't absolutely need, just wait. Give it 30 days. It's a challenge that cuts right to the heart of consumer culture and asks a pretty provocative question. Is this a real need or is it just a want?